Welcome to Kaplan Professional Education's 5 Minutes with the Industry. I'm Victoria Papandrea, and today I'm speaking to Phil Windsor from Chrysalis Lifestyle Planning about providing financial advice to older Australians. Phil, thanks for joining us today. Firstly, what would you say are some of the unique financial planning needs of people 65 years of age and over?
The first thing I would say is how to invest proceeds that aren't already in super. So a lot of people, when they come to retirement at age 65, they'll be looking to sell up their investment properties, for instance, or they might have direct shares that they want to get into super and they want to transfer them in specie, or they want to sell them up and buy managed funds inside a superannuation fund. So there's some issues around that. At 65, the government guillotine comes down, and in order to get money into super after 65, as you probably know, you have to pass a work test. And so there's some planning issues around that as to whether they will or not. And if not, there's some issues that need to be addressed well in advance of age 65, where we're planning to get their money into super and selling assets before that, so that we also keep under all the contribution caps. Estate planning issues is another very important topic for over 65, particularly the transfer of assets tax effectively to non-dependent, non-tax dependent adult children who are not given any tax relief on the receipt of estate proceeds from family. So there's some planning around changing the taxable components of superannuation, for instance. So recontribution strategies and things like that become really important at that point. But then you've also got to obey all the contribution rules and the work test and everything. You can get it out, but can you get it back in? That's the significant issue. You don't want to leave people high and dry mid-strategy.
Phil, how important is estate equalisation for individuals over 65?
Can be very important for clients, especially, Victoria, when there's blended families involved. And yes, I want to provide something to my current wife, but my children, which haven't come from this wife, shouldn't miss out, and I want to make specific provision for them. And so estate equalisation can be important there. Or alternatively, someone has some asset in the family that they want to retain in the family, like an investment property that's not to ever be sold, and it's to be given to a certain member of the family. That's when a client will often look to do some estate equalisation so the other children don't get disadvantaged.
Phil, how can advisors take longevity risk into account when developing or reviewing retirement plans for clients aged 65 and over?
The question is how to make your money last longer. So market influence, risk profiling all becomes very important. Very important for planners to be very considered with their projections and be on the conservative side, given that there are more years now to prepare for where unforeseen events could occur, and so there needs to be provision for a longer period now for anything that's unforeseen. So things that I like to do where possible is, for instance, keep a line of credit open for a client for as long as possible. Even though they might have paid off their home, don't fully pay out the loan. Keep the line of credit, because that becomes an opportunity there to go into to a loan scenario, rather than have to take lump sums out of superannuation, for instance, where they can't get it back in anymore, as an alternative.
Phil, do you have any final tips for advisors working in the 65 and over space?
Interestingly enough, when someone's retiring, they're looking to simplify their lives. The conundrum is that for most people who are 65, it gets more complicated for them with regards to the financial management of their wealth. And so I would say for my client base that the number one key element for my clients is peace of mind and someone they can trust, that they can basically defer all of those difficult, technical, complex considerations to a trusted advisor. For people who are over 65, I try and get their adult children involved in decisions that are made, especially considering it'll probably be the adult children down the track that are looking for hostels or nursing homes for them, and it's the adult children that will have the assets passed on to them. And so bringing the family together is a really wonderful thing from an advice process point of view, but from a planner's perspective, it also means that you're going to have the next generation as a client. And that just makes commercial sense to me.
Phil, thank you so much for your time.